and welcome back. I'm gonna be ranking Dark Souls bosses this time, so if you haven't watched the other video where I rank my Demon Souls, check it out and let me know what you think about that. Without further ado, let me see. Let me get that, and boom, transition. Cool, huh? Yeah, I know. If you didn't know about the former list, the bosses furthest to the left, closest to the letter, are the better ones, and further from the letter are the worst ones in that category, or in that section, so now. I'm just gonna be taking them one in order, so I might do a little bit of readjusting the list as I go. We'll have to see. So 4 kings, that is definitely not a fun fight. I think it's going into C immediately. Doesn't deserve better than C. The only saving grace about that fight is the amount of kings that can come off if you don't hurry. But at the same time, I'm not a fan of bosses where I'm under a time pressure of some sort. I have never been a fan of those, so I think it doesn't deserve better than C. Perhaps a high C, I'm not sure yet. Also, these fights, I always try to keep in mind the music, the lore, the arena, the fight mechanics itself. Fight mechanics themselves? Yeah, I will keep them in mind. Gaping Dragon. Ooh. I think it is a B. Yeah, I like it. I like it. The thing about Gaping Dragon is, if you don't find the channeler in the depths, if you don't explore enough, he will boost the boss. He will make it tougher anyway. And he can also fire soul arrows from where he stands. So that's one of the aspects that I think makes the fight interesting. The other is obviously hitting its head for more damage. And the third, that you can cut off its tail. Or Dragon King Great Axe, I'm pretty sure its name is. So a lot of interesting things going on. If you don't find the shortcut back to the bonfire, for that matter, if you don't find the key and then open up the door to the bonfire, this can be a very stressful fight. You don't want to die. So I like it. Goes up into B. Oh my, Sif already. Ooh. I'm almost ashamed. Don't hate me, okay? Sif is a fantastic fight. I love the fight. But I'm tired of that freaking wolf. Like, the lore, amazing. The music, amazing. The boss itself is amazing. It's just... it's not a perfect fight. I don't know. It just doesn't... It's almost an S. Almost. Almost an S. Is it an S? Yeah, it's I remember that you can get the freaking wolf to limp, and you can go to the wolf after you've been to DLC, and it adds just so much about it. Yeah, it's a heartbreaking fight. I'm sorry, I forgot about that. I forgot that I actually have feelings, sorry. Gwyn. I love this fight. Is it better than Sif? It's definitely up here. I think it is better than Sif. It depends on. If you have been paying attention, it's an S, definitely. If you haven't been paying attention, or if you're just more, it's nothing wrong with that, but if you're a more casual game that don't really care about the story and stuff, you just want the gameplay, then it's probably an A, maximum B. Maximum A, probably B, maximum A, that's what I meant. But if you have been paying attention and everything surrounding Gwyn, it's an S, definitely. It's just the heartbreaking fate of the once glorious king that's turned hollow, and it's nothing more than an empty shell of his former glory. Everyone knows the bling bling plong. It's gotta be up there. The Iron Golem. Ooh. You know, if you see my other video, if it's up now, I hope it's up, about the areas. Sense Fortress is actually my favorite areas in Dark Souls. Yeah, I think it is, no matter what. Even if you're counting the DLC, I still think it's my favorite area. But the Iron Golem fight itself, it's a very easy fight. It's not hard at all. It has a gimmick that the golem can fall off the arena, but so can you, so I mean... And then we have the legend of the Iron Tarkus. Tarkus!
Oh, bitch! Oh, bitch! Tarkus!
If you haven't seen that video, go and see it. Just search Iron Tarkus on YouTube or something. It should be there. So freaking funny. I still think it's a B. It's better than Four Kings, definitely. But I still think it's worse than the Gaping Dragon. But I kinda like it also. I never do the fight and then, oh, this sucked or something. I always enjoy myself with the fight. Moonlight Butterfly. This probably is the first D. It's either a C or a D. No, it's a D. It's definitely a D. The boss has what? 3 attacks if you count the explosion, and it's just a waiting game. I know the design, and the design is nice. Everything else, the boss weapons are nice too, I guess. Especially the spear. Everything else is just boring. Nito, First of the Dead. First of the D... no. It's not a D fight. I still think it's a C fight though. I don't think it's interesting enough to be a B fight. The only thing interesting about the fight is that he can resurrect the skeletons, so if you don't have a divine blessed weapon, can get annoying or frustrating even. But it's not a hard fight, it's a very easy boss. His design is great though. His design is really fantastic. And the introduction movie, the opening movie, where he holds his hand like this with a flame, gives me goosebumps every time. But the fight itself, it's a C maximum. Or is it? Damn. Second thoughts. It's a high C though. It's almost a B, I gotta say. Ooh, Ornstein and Smoke, Pikachu and Snorlax. An A. I don't think it deserves the S tier. Not that great. But I will say it's a good fight. The unexpected thing that happens when you kill one of them, you gotta fight the other one that's just hypercharged. I remember I struggled a lot on my first time playing. Going through the game on the PS3. It was tough. I really struggled against the boss. Especially because I didn't really upgrade my weapons enough. Because I was blind, I didn't know what the frick I was doing. I might have even leveled resistance once, so still very memorable. A tough, challenging fight mostly. And the music is stellar. The arena is good also, so it deserves an A definitely. But not an S. Not that great. I think this is Pinwheel, which is, yeah. No, it's a D fight, definitely. Yeah, it's a D fight. It's really bad. Why didn't I have Moonlight Butterfly on my list of worst bosses? The question is Pinwheel worse than Moonlight Butterfly? Damn, I think it is. Pinwheel is really, really bad. The only saving grace is the lore. Otherwise they could have done something more. They could have made the boss tougher. It's very easy to kill him. That might also be lore accurate, so I don't know. Seath, I hate this fight. I hate this fight personally. It's so freaking boring. Trying to cut off his tail is the slog. It's probably the worst thing about the fight. Yeah, it's a D, I'm sorry. It's worse than Four Kings. It's probably the worst. I'm not gonna finish that sentence. Take it easy. Is this the Asylum Demon? I don't know which of these is which. I'm going to assume this is the... Okay, I zoomed in like crazy and checked. This is definitely the first one. I think it's maybe a C. I mean, if you play the game over and over, or if you speedrun the game, like I have, it's annoying more. But the first time you play through it, and with the drop attack, that you learn that some bosses can be exploited, or you can use certain mechanics against certain bosses to gain an upper hand. It's a good lesson actually. Also the lesson that sometimes you gotta run away, because you can't fight them. applies to Seath also, but you kind of have to die there if you don't know the skip. So, but it's fine. And then we have the other one when you return. I hate this even more. Uninspired. The only thing it kind of gained was the magic attacks, and they just put a lot of health on the boss. It's just tedious, straight up. It's not fun. What the frick is this? Is this the Taurus demon? I think this is the Taurus demon. Let me check. Hold on. It was the Taurus demon. Yeah, this is a nice fight. I think it deserves a high C. Even when you replay the game, it's still a fun fight. The mechanics of being able to fall down from the arena with the drop attacks, once again taking advantage of certain opportunities to make the boss fight easier, to gain an upper hand. A good lesson. I talked about it in my Fading Fire video, how it kind of teaches the player a lot of things early on. Yeah, it definitely deserves a C. It's a good fight. I see. Almost a B. I'm not even gonna justify that. Bed of Chaos is the worst fight in the entire Souls series, bar none. It's so freaking bad, I hate it. Like many others do. What astounds me is when they did the remastered, why didn't they in some way try to make it slightly more better? Why didn't, like, you know where the Witch of Izalith invades? When you come from the one way and you walk further on after you've defeated her and you can find Fire Whip. Why didn't they put an illusory wall or just smash in the wall and put a bonfire there? Would have made the fight much better, because you didn't have to run like for 15 minutes to get to the freaking boss and then die from some stupid platforming. Ugh. I'm just gonna talk about it more. The design is cool, the boss is shit. There you go. Right where you belong, Pat. Artorias is the best boss from the first game. It's a fun, challenging fight with a lot of lore and impact on the entire game. You kind of learn a lot about Artorias in the base game if you try to do everything, especially from dialogue, from reading item descriptions and stuff, and then you figure out that, or you learn that he wasn't everything he was cracked up to be, but he was still a monster. With one hand, his weaker hand, he's left-handed, keep that in mind. He's still deadly as all hell. It's a great fight, to be honest. So now we have Calamite. The fight against Calamite is good for being the first Dark Souls game. It's challenging, the dragon is interesting, you don't just whack away at the shins of the dragon. Kinda need to be smart about it, and it's still a healthy dragon. Probably the worst thing about it is trying to cut off its tail. It takes a long ass time. But after you've done that, it's still a challenging fight. Hawkeye Goth with his mighty ass arrow shot, and yeah, it's a nice fight. I'll give it an A. Might be biased, but I don't give a frick. I like the fight. Mons is just straight up there in the S tier. Just a great fight in terms of everything, every aspect, music, lore, current story, gameplay mechanics. It's a great ass fight. I have nothing more to say. I don't need to justify it anymore. It's great. Sanctuary Guardian. Put it in B somewhere. Probably high B. Hey, come on. There we go. You definitely feel that Sanctuary Guardian can be applied to every DLC boss from the first game. That's where From started to do more interactive boss fights. And many fast attacks, so it's very hard to time your attacks against it. You can cut off its tail, like many other bosses in the game. You gain a whip. Otherwise, it's not really amazing in terms of lore and story. Design is okay, and fight is quite good. Deserves a high B. Oh my god, gargoyles. This is one of the fights I think that they kinda did. I know. So crazy, huh? This is one of those fights that I kinda think that they did the do fight justice. You don't know that another gargoyle is about to come down after the first. And it ups the tension, but you still have a large roof to play with. You can fall down if you're not careful. The arena is kind of perfect for them both. They each have predictable attacks. Takes a while to wind up, and you can kind of lock them into. Oftentimes, if one's not breathing fire, the other is. You can kind of divide them like that if you're strategic, but they can still whack you into the ground very easily, so you gotta be careful. I like to fight. It's interesting. I always liked redoing it, no matter how many times I play the game. Capra Demon. C is for Capra. Yeah, that's where I'm gonna put it. I know it's crazy, I like the Capra Demon fight more than I like Seath. That's very telling about how much I dislike Seath. Anyway, Capra Demon, you know of it. I'm not gonna say the words because then YouTube will just say no. But you come in, like a dogs attack you, swarm you. The demon too. It feels very coin flippy at the beginning stages. Like, yeah, I get that they wanted to up the ante and do an unpredictable hard fight from the start. You kind of need to stay on your toes from the very beginning. But dogs wasn't the right way to do it, I'm just saying. Plus, the Capra Demon returns as an ordinary enemy later on in the game, much like Taurus Demon, but it's way less interesting, so we'll see. This is Ceaseless Discharge, which if you can fight it in two ways. You can either do the way where you one-shot him almost. Not really one-shotting, but you kind of one-shot him. And otherwise you can fight him in the real way, the more traditional way, and both times it's just a boring fight. Can't really consider it a fight. But the lore though kind of ups the fight a bit. The lore makes it a bit better. Now the question remains, would I rather fight this or the Asylum Demon? They'll think like that, maybe. The design is cool though, I will give them that. The design, the lore is really cool. You know what? Like that. That feels better. Great. Centipede Demon. It's also a bad boss. There are a lot of bad bosses in the game, wow. Never really thought about it. There's a lot. Question is the C? Yeah, it's not a B. Not a B. Probably around here somewhere, like here, maybe. Kinda in the middle of C. Very forgettable, I think. You get the shard ring, so you can walk on lava, which is a good thing. Otherwise, the fight itself is boring. Cool arena, though. I will give it the fight. I will give it that. Plus, one thing I like about it is how you can see it before you get the chance to fight against it. Kind of makes it interesting. Alright, the Spider Lady herself. I think it's somewhere around this place. It's very high on the list. It's a fun fight, challenging, fair, almost always fair. Sometimes it's just straight up bullshit, in my opinion, with the hitboxes of the lava. But otherwise, a very fair fight. One of the peaks in the game, I think. When you're in Blighttown, you can't get out without having to do a massive walkout. You don't really know the way up. Normally, you need to defeat the boss to ring the second bell of awakening to progress. Plus, the design is unexpected, but it sticks with you in some way. Fun fact, I bet a friend when we played Drinking Souls. And I bet him that I could get from, where was I? From above Andre, the end of Under the Parish, in the church, that I could get from there to Blighttown and defeat Kelag in one go, without resting at the bonfire or anything. And I did it. We bet shots. The only problem for him was that I was a human. I was in human form, so it meant double up. He wasn't very happy, but he was hangover the day after. Great memories. Crossbreed Priscilla. The design is memorable for sure. Plus I'm probably one of the few that actually likes the painted world of Ariamis. I like Ariamis. Somewhere around B, I think. Low B, high C, low B. I think I like it more than Iron Golem personally. Yeah. The design and the mechanics of the fight makes it stand out a bit more. Plus the music is always a big plus. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Gwendolyn. Another fight I kinda like. I like the illusion aspect. The lore is definitely up there. Can be difficult. If you're not careful, you can be killed easily. And it can happen fast. Gotta be careful. Plus it's a hidden boss. It's very easy to miss if you don't know what you're doing or if you haven't read a guide or anything. Very easy to miss. I still think this is not B. A high B maybe. No. I think this feels better actually. And then we have the final one. The reskin. The fire reskin. It's called Fire Sage. Fire Sage Demon. Also so forgettable. Third reskin in the game. Doesn't really sit well, especially since it's pretty much just this one, but with fire. So, yeah, it's definitely a D. Somewhere down here. No, I don't think so. I think it's worse. Yeah, I think I'm pretty satisfied with the list. The only thoughts I have right now is I'm not certain about Gwyn being in the S tier. I'm not certain that Ornstein and Smo should be in the A tier. S tier looks good, A tier looks good, B is kinda on the fence. D I'm pretty satisfied with. I don't like the 4 kings, I hate them. No, you know what? You know what? There we go. Yeah, it feels better. Yeah, what did you think about my ranking? Do you think I'm completely out of my mind? Probably. Or do you think I have some kind of justification for making this list? Hopefully you think I'm not crazy. But let me know down below if you haven't checked it out yet. Check out my Demon Souls boss rankings. And you can always check out my best worst bosses in the Soul series, Soulspawn series, if you want to. So thank you for watching and have a great one. Until next time, more of these lists are coming and stay tuned. Believe in yourself and I'll see you.